All right, finally got a B-roll set up properly. So this is the YouTube channel. It went from Artificial Productions. You're going to see an edit to another part of the video, but Artificial Productions is now the Edible Sandcastle. And what that means specifically, if you read the description on my YouTube page, and I'll be looking back and forth because I'm screencasting here, but I'm also looking up there and at my iPad. But it's in my own thoughts based on a lot of the books and my own experience. Um, how is our world? How is our world a edible sandcastle? And a lot of people would be wondering, oh, what do you mean by a sandcastle? It's like, well, like food in sandcastles, it appeals to our emotions, engagement, creativity, flavor, and impermanence. Impermanence being a big key word because the fact that human life is fleeting. It's impermanent. It's not going to forever last. We all die eventually, unfortunately, at some point. So this is kind of our legacy for everybody. Each person has their own legacy that they provide to the world. That's what life is, like a sandcastle. Each of us owning our own individual sandcastle, but always waiting for life to wash it away with the tide. So the tide comes in, washes it out, and then you rebuild. And that's every single person's life. That's just it's a cyclical thing. I'd rather personally ask, can we prevent the tide from sweeping it away? And regarding that is what is our legacy that we leave behind? The simple part of the complicated answer is yes. By building a structural foundation that supports what ingredients we use to build it and the educational insights on why we built it in the first place. Like what I do educationally and professionally, that's my legacy that I choose to create my own path and my plans and my goals for. And this is how we tend to the tide by repairing and mitigating damage. And on the photo, you'll see the sandcastle sitting on a foundation, and that's what it's also about. So, unfortunately, I'm still figuring this out, so it's not going to flow as smoothly as I would like it to. But for example, our foundation, which would be at the bottom, oops, is I would say possibly our life experiences, our life experiences, um, education, if you want to count that, our, well, let me just see what this does. I'm trying to figure out I'll figure it out eventually, but it's our education, our goals, etc. Just for little examples, because this is just an intro to what I'm doing. The path that is currently being shown that goes, I call it the yellow brick road, if I can find yellow, but we'll just call it's our, come on, work with me. Yeah, I'm still figuring it out. So sorry if it looks weird. And I know I'm looking back and forth. I'm trying to figure out the camera angles for this, but more specifically, so this is our yellow brick road. All of this here, winding around and around, all this up here and up here and up here, maybe this too, and a little bit of this. So that's what we consider our yellow brick road. And even so, going up the spiral, all that as well, until we get to the very top. And I would say, so you have the main foundation, you have the foundation, and then you have the main kind of body where it's okay. So your life experiences, your education, which would be high school, maybe elementary. This would be, well, maybe I guess this middle part would be high school, and or college. But and then you would go to upper education, and then the top part and upper education, you would start your profession. Maybe your profession would be here. My profession was I started as a dishwasher, so dish. and then you would go to becoming a line cook slash chef. So you would go from your dishwasher through high school and college, becoming a line cook and a chef. My kind of goals for higher education would be going into environmental sciences further on and nutritional sciences. So who would I be working for? That'd be like the FDA or through UCF or the USDA, et cetera, et cetera. Just stuff like that, or becoming a private kind of consultant for nutritional sciences. And then you've got the next tier, which would be up here. That would be your, I would say you, after your master's or PhD, master thesis slash PhD, if you ever got one, or if you did something for careers, even this could be that one right here. If you choose to not do a PhD, careers for long-term goals. So that's where, and then you would figure out this whole section at the very top would be what you would be doing long-term wise. This is your like 30 plus years and counting. Maybe you would start your upper education, you'd be at 5 to 5 to 12, 5 to 12 years. I would say personally, currently, I'm still at my upper education. I've been doing this for 7 years. And a lot of the times, if I don't add these other cuts in, but most likely, um, my goals are still at upper education. And that's kind of how I see it, where your life is that sandcastle, but you build yourself up. So like my old saying is you build yourself up so nobody can break you down. And that's kind of just legit the nitty gritty of it and the simplest way I can make it. But some of the books that I have found very pertinent to my point would be, let me see if I can pull it up properly without messing up my whole thing. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Still recording. Beautiful. So, a lot of the things that I've done, I've read books regarding, and my choices on that, meh, some people agree with, some people don't, but like Intrinsic Motivation, this is the first one that I'd like to recommend. It's written, it's built to be a book about planning and career development, with the guy teaching people how to have a better way of thinking in life and using that in a constructive and practical manner in your own personal life or in your own in your field, your job, whatever, or you teach it to your fellow employees or employers. And he's used these techniques to help grow companies and to save them a lot of money. And his methodology and the way he wrote it specifically is very third person and first person. So it's really different than a lot of other books that would just say, oh, focus on these main ideals, these core ideals, and go from there. But no, he says, go with the flow, learn from your failures, make those mistakes, because that's the thing you learn from. The pain and suffering that comes with it is intentional, because that's how you learn to enjoy your work. Like James, like the book, the Beard on Food book. I'm sorry that my camera quality is so terrible. If I do cut this out, I have the other clips that'll be in further B-roll. But Beard on Food was a book about how people recipes that were recognized through the James Beard Foundation, and the guy who won several James, I think he won several James Beard Awards. But this book specifically, with this book, is a perfect iteration of what I mean by using your a better way of thinking to get to this. This is what I want to be recognized at that level. But my also kind of overall secondary plan, if I stay in education, like with Food Fix, the concept of food is medicine, that's stuff that is very important to me when it comes to teaching people about healthier eating and fixing the environment, fixing our systems that we have, because they're sustainable, but they're not structured properly. They're falling apart, unfortunately, because of problems outside of their own control. But this book like this teaches the regular common folk how to handle their dietary needs, and then any kind of other changes in their lives progressively, step by step. Or it also, let me see if I can find a good example. It gives you a lot of good examples with the problems within the industry, but then also food policies and making sure we're not getting people sick as well. This describes that very well, in my opinion. And then there's also the food is medicine books that I've read as well. Um, Malto Italiano, one of my favorite rustic Italian books, um, by Mario Batali, very famous chef. And I think he's even the writer. I think he published this book. I'm not sure though, but he might not have published this book. But a lot of these recipes are very creatively woven into the history of the ingredients, and just like lobster risotto, just a random flip lobster risotto. He describes, I know the video is grainy, unfortunately. I got to get a better camera, but he explains how to make the pastas from start to scratch, how to make doughs, how to make these ingredients, where they're sourced from, the Italian inspiration and heritage behind them, his own heritage and his own inspiration about some of these recipes, where a lot of these are like stuff that are family heirloom recipes or generational recipes that you wouldn't want to lose. These books like these are what makes that style of cooking so important. Like, and another one that's a really good one that's a modern one is charcuterie. Like, I've made tens, probably even 100 different style boards of charcuteries and cheeses and edible creations and centerpieces of fruits, etc. And just like, for example, this book is more meant for if you're doing a PDR, like a private dining room, or hors d'oeuvres for like for 50 to 100 people. And these are all books of my recommendation because, like, look at that. Game day appetizers. Look how amazing that looks. But that's what I'm saying. It's like these are things that you can make, like even elegant stuff like that. All the elegant little contraptions and designs, and some of these cups, like the tidbit ones, you can eat. They're all edible, and that's how we prevent that waste. Because right now, currently, with like high end dining and big function events, unfortunately, they do big platters, which is okay, but I've had to throw away pounds and pounds and pounds of food, even if it doesn't go to um kind of, even if it goes to your employees to feed everybody, you're still throwing away a lot of food. And the other problem with that is donating food is an issue in on itself, where there's legal litigations that some people just don't want to choose to not follow through in. But another that's just another big issue with high end and high capacity, either restaurants or resorts. And I'll be talking, it's like that's something I'd like to talk about career wise in this YouTube channel, where it discusses, I can even pull up the notes, but it discusses primarily, let me see if I can find it. I have it here somewhere. But it discusses questions regarding bioaccumulators and composting, and then the good, the bad, the uglies, and unknown challenges that we. Oh, here it is. Okay, so agricultural industry in domestic farming and horticulture, through monoculture, polyculture, through GMOs, anything like that in general, through I think I said heirlooms, but even home growing, sustainable gardening, the challenges and the unknown challenges that I want to focus on, because everybody knows all these known challenges. These are all written down, but what are the unknown ones? From running a team to getting along with one another and developing with each other properly. And what are the solutions that we can create to help that, like training and proper documentation and just talking to one another. And then it's the realms of where are the profit margins coming in from this as well. It's like we don't want waste because that's all money that's going in the garbage. So how do we prevent that? How do we reuse or recost out a product that's not going to be used? And how do we get a better deal from it with our vendors and suppliers? And then that's lasting savings. And then how can we, if we compost it, can we get a tax credit from it? Does this benefit another company that can help us gain some kind of reputation on minimum food waste? Because it's already hard enough to donate these foods. Instead, you would be wanting to, okay, what's an ulterior, so it doesn't go straight in the garbage and into landfill, as a waste product because that creates biodegradable gases that are harmful to the environment. Okay, but can we capture that? Can we do other things with that? That's stuff that I would like to do podcasts with people. That's stuff with I like to get further knowledge in with my educational field. But then I'm trying to find better work that's outside of the field of my restaurants as plan A to do that long term, or B, stay within my restaurants and kind of help change the focus on what we're going or where we're going with this industry because there's a lot of problems already with the, the restaurant industry that I'd like to address more personally, but it's kind of hard to do that on your own. But that's kind of the general premise of the YouTube channel, trying to keep it short and sweet if possible. But yeah, I hope this video was kind of uh explained it well enough to everybody. And yeah, everybody have a great day, okay? Bye.